People vanish. In broad daylight. From campgrounds. From trails. From places you would never expect. No bodies. No evidence. No explanation. These are the kinds of disappearances that defy logic. June 14, 1969. Cades Cove, Great Smoky Mountains National Park, Tennessee. 6-year-old Dennis Lloyd Martin is playing hide-and-seek with his older brother and 2 cousins near a trail junction. His father, William Martin, is nearby, preparing the campsite at Russell Field, a popular spot for families. Dennis steps behind a tree, planning to jump out and surprise the adults. He never emerges. 15 minutes pass. Panic rises. By nightfall, park rangers are alerted, and a massive search begins. Over 1,400 people join the effort. Park rangers, state troopers, volunteers, even soldiers from Fort Bragg. They comb more than 50 square miles of rugged terrain. Steep ravines, thick underbrush, and sudden drop-offs make the search almost impossible. Experienced trackers find no trail, no footprints, no signs of struggle. The forest swallows him completely. A sudden storm moves through the mountains. Heavy rain erases any scent or trace. Dogs fail to pick up a trail. Weeks pass. Helicopters circle the ridge lines. Every inch of the park is searched again and again. Still nothing. Several hikers later report hearing a child scream and seeing a shadowy figure moving uphill at impossible speed. These accounts are documented but never confirmed. Dennis Martin disappears without a trace. No body. No evidence. No explanation. 50 years later, the national park remembers the boy, but the forest keeps its silence. The search doesn't end with the first week. Rangers set up grid patterns, calling in every available volunteer. Green Berets from Fort Bragg are deployed to tackle the steep slopes and dense undergrowth. Dogs struggle against the wet earth, their noses unable to pick up a scent that seems to vanish as soon as it appears. Helicopters circle overhead, spotlights cutting through fog and darkness, but the boy is nowhere to be seen. Neighbors, hikers, and campers who were in the area recall the eerie silence that fell over the forest. Birds stop singing. The wind carries strange echoes through the trees. Some searchers claim they feel watched, as if the forest itself is holding its breath. Despite thousands of man-hours and careful planning, no trace of Dennis is ever found. Authorities examine every possible explanation. Could he have slipped and fallen into a ravine? Could he have wandered into another section of the park? Every logical option is considered, but there is no evidence to support any of them. No body, no clothing, no footprints beyond a few that vanish into thick brush. The deeper the investigation goes, the more inexplicable the case becomes. Years later, authors and investigators classified Dennis Martin as one of the most baffling cases in U.S. national park history. Some link it to patterns in unsolved disappearances, pointing to the wilderness swallowing people in areas frequented by families and hikers. Others suggest more mysterious forces, but nothing is ever confirmed. Even now, the forest remains silent, and the memory of a little boy who simply stepped behind a tree lingers. Every summer, hikers at Cades Cove tell the story to each other, reminding themselves that sometimes, even in well-trodden paths, the mountains can hold their secrets forever. The mountains keep their secrets, and Dennis Martin is never found. A single child, gone in plain sight, leaving only questions behind. But disappearances like this are not limited to forests. Decades later, in the flat plains of Minnesota, another young man vanishes under equally baffling circumstances. A night, a car, a phone call, and then silence. This is the story of Brandon Swanson. May 14, 2008. Brandon Swanson, 19, is driving home from a party near Lind, Minnesota. It's late, and the roads are dark and quiet. He calls his parents from a cell phone, telling them he believes he has driven off course. He is unsure of his location and asks them to guide him. For hours, Brandon speaks with his father, describing landmarks, ditches, and turns. At one point, he says he sees a ditch ahead and plans to jump it. Then, pause, his voice disappears. A final, garbled statement is all that is captured before the call abruptly ends. By the time his parents try to call back, there is no answer. Emergency services are contacted. A search is launched immediately, with law enforcement combing the roads, fields, and nearby rivers. Volunteers join in, flashlights cutting through the darkness, tracking dogs sniffing every roadside. Despite hours of searching and a careful reconstruction of Brandon's route, there is no sign of him. No footprints, no tire tracks leading into a field, no vehicle abandoned along the road. It is as if he simply vanished into the night. The search for Brandon begins in earnest. Law enforcement maps out his last known route, checking every side road, ditch, and field. Volunteers and neighbors join the effort, walking for hours in the dark. Search dogs are brought in, but they lose the scent almost immediately. Brandon has vanished as completely as Dennis Martin did decades earlier, except this time, it's on flat, open land. Authorities examine every possibility. Could he have crashed his car into the river? Could he have wandered into a nearby farm or property? Teams check ponds, drainage ditches, and drainage culverts. Nothing. No tracks. No abandoned car. No trace of Brandon's presence at all. Witnesses report strange details during the investigation. Some say they saw a young man on the side of the road that night, huddled near a ditch, only to vanish before they could approach. Others hear nothing unusual, adding to the eerie silence surrounding his disappearance. The case captures national attention. News outlets highlight the bizarre circumstances. A young man, actively communicating with his parents, disappears in real time, leaving no evidence behind. Investigators catalog the timeline meticulously, but every lead hits a dead end. Even years later, the night of May 14th remains a mystery. Brandon Swanson's car was eventually found parked at the edge of a field, but he was gone. No one knows if he left on foot, if he was taken, or if something unexplainable occurred. Like Dennis Martin, Brandon has vanished without a trace, leaving only questions that will never be fully answered. Brandon Swanson disappears in the dead of night, his phone call ending in silence. A young man lost in the open, leaving behind nothing but questions. Patterns emerge when you step back. Children, teens, entire communities vanishing without a trace. Long before Minnesota, far to the north in the frozen tundra of Canada, an entire village vanished. It was November 1930, in Lake Anjikuni, Nunavut, a remote Inuit settlement where dozens of families lived, hunted, and thrived, now destined to become one of the most baffling disappearances ever recorded. When Joe LaBelle, a fur trapper, arrived at the village, he found it completely empty. Smoke still rose from cooking fires. Dogs lay chained, waiting for their owners. Food remained on tables, tools left mid-use. Clothing hung in closets. The entire village, every man, woman, and child, was gone. Not a soul remained. LaBelle alerted authorities. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police, RCMP, investigated, retracing routes and examining surrounding areas. Search parties scoured the tundra, questioning neighboring communities. Still, there was no sign of the villagers. No footprints leading away. No struggle. No trace of life beyond the empty homes and abandoned possessions. Some Inuit elders speculated that strange phenomena or spirits might have been involved. Others feared more earthly causes, disease, mass migration, but none fit the facts. Even decades later, the disappearance of Lake Anjikuni remains unsolved, a chilling reminder that sometimes, whole communities can simply vanish without explanation. RCMP records describe what they found as an abandoned village frozen in time. Traps were untouched, fires still smoldering, and personal belongings left behind. There was no evidence of a struggle, no footprints leading away, nothing to explain how dozens of people could disappear in the harsh northern winter without leaving a trace. Speculation has run wild over the decades. Some claim it was a mass migration to escape disease or starvation, but Inuit testimony contradicts this. Food and supplies were plentiful. Others suggest paranormal explanations, spirits, strange lights, or even extraterrestrial involvement. No theory fits perfectly. No one can explain how an entire village simply vanished. To this day, Lake Anjikuni is uninhabited. Investigators, historians, and paranormal researchers return to the site again and again, hoping for answers that never come. Every log cabin, every empty fire pit, every abandoned tool is a silent witness to a mystery that has never been solved. 3 disappearances, separated by decades and continents, yet united by the same chilling reality. People vanish without a trace. Dennis Martin in the Smoky Mountains, Brandon Swanson on the roads of Minnesota, and an entire village in Nunavut. All reminders that sometimes, the world keeps its darkest secrets to itself. Is this coincidence or something more? Drop your theory in the comments and tell us what you think happened. The answers may never come, but the questions remain.